Welcome back to another video. My name is Jack Prow. I'm the founder and owner here at Berngate Business Sales, where we operate out of. We have our current office in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, but we also serve the rest of Victoria and also Queensland right now. We do have partner brokers in each and every other state, and over the next few years, we do plan on opening our own offices in other states across the country. But currently right now, we have an office in Queensland and Victoria as well. So if you're considering selling your business and looking for a boutique, hands-on, one-to-one, personalized and confidential business broker to take your business through the sale process to help you get the most amount of value and make the highest sale price possible, then make sure you follow one of the links on our channel here and get in touch with us for a free appraisal and exit strategy, which I will be doing myself. And on today's video, I want to talk about who buys businesses, specifically here in Australia. Because unlike some other countries like Europe, the UAE and America, where there are these huge conglomerates and firms and funds that are invested from investors who are investing in other investors. In Australia here, it's a much smaller kind of demographic and market. And although there are some offshore buyers, like a lot of Indians right now, Chinese, Singapore, the UAE, and also America as well. But for no doubt you as a typical small business owner yourself, you're most likely going to be selling to somebody like in Australia. And most of the time, business owners that I speak to, even when I sold my business myself as well, we kind of think that the only people that are going to be buying our businesses are like other people like you and me. So almost just like another operator like ourselves, when in fact that is one big portion, but there are a lot of other buyers out there that you're just not aware of right now. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video, so you can have a clear picture of like, okay, cool, it is a good idea to sell my business because I thought only someone else just like me would buy it, when in fact there are these huge other businesses who would see even more value in my business, and often they come with even more money willing to spend the price that you want to sell your business for. Now, in saying that, you throw out this random huge number, it doesn't mean they're going to buy it. It has to actually be worth the value. But there are these bigger buyers out there that have more money, and often they're the ones that we want to try and go to first. Now, the first types of buyers are first-time business owners. Again, depending on the sale price and the operation of your business. So if you're running like a typical owner-operator, trade services, cafe, e-commerce, something in there where like you're the sole operator and you might even have like one or two people working with you, in general, you're going to get a lot of people that are first-time buyers approaching and inquiring about purchasing your business. So these might look like employees that want to become a business owner, maybe like tradies and you finish their apprenticeship and instead of starting their own business, they'll just buy one. Maybe it's just like mum and dad or like a couple that are sick of the 9 to 5 and they've got a house and they can finance off the house, and now they want to start their own dream business and they want to buy a cafe and sell the cookies that their great grandmother's recipe was passed down to them. This is very common. Now, as much as these sellers are opportunistic and great, they're not really the most ideal sellers, but we still want to accept them into the sale process, but we don't want to rely on them. Now, the next types of buyers are existing business owners. So this is starting to fall in what we call a strategic buyer. So these guys might be wanting to grow their business horizontally rather than vertically. And they do that through acquisition. So what that means is instead of them going out and saying, we just want to market our business more and make as many sales as we can so we make more money, instead they think, well, maybe it's more affordable if we go borrow some money from the bank and go and acquire a business who has all these other extra customers and revenue. And if we just bring that business under our whole umbrella, we've achieved even more scale much quicker and much more affordably. You'll get other business owners who are just wanting to buy their competitors. So rather than like scaling, they're more looking at your business like you're a competitor and you're starting to annoy them, so they're just going to buy you. You might have other, not competitors necessarily, but businesses that are in similar regions, but over the other side of like your major city or state, or even in another state. And they want to come into the state that you're in, or the region that you're in. And again, it's acquisition for strategic purposes. Rather than them starting up, they'll just acquire you and immediately have that cash flow coming in. Now, these are often the highest paying buyers because they see so much more value in your business than like a first-time buyer would. Now, another common buyer is what we call private equity firms. So real private equity hovers around 100 million plus to $1 billion. And generally they're buying into like funds. Those funds are like operating codes, and those operating codes are acquiring smaller businesses. So you'll hear people throw the term private equity around here and there, but real private equity is like in the hundreds of millions or billions. There's a lot of people that do the same strategy and structure as private equity, but they call themselves like micro private equity. So just to be wary of that, because when you throw the common private equity term around, some people will automatically think you're talking about like KKR at the big dogs, when in fact you're talking about the little firm that runs out of Dubai and they only buy little e-com businesses, and they've just given themselves the private equity label. Now, private equity, generally, whether it's larger or smaller, they all kind of follow the same strategy, which is buy an established business with a strong operating team, like they don't have to touch or do anything. So ideally, like your business, you don't need to be there. Like your business runs on itself. It's been running for many, many years. A lot of the work that you do, the revenue that comes in, is from servicing and organic growth. So it's almost like the most ideal business possible that you would be like, well, why would I even sell that? That's generally the businesses that these private equity firms want. They generally want businesses that are doing higher EBITDA. So they're not necessarily running on valuations of SDE or PBITDA, which is basically like your owner's wage added back in. In general, private equity wants businesses that have the management team, that have the operations, the business is doing its own thing, the owner is basically out of the business and the day-to-day, and they're valuing the business off EBITDA. So they're not normally interested in like owner-dependent businesses. Now there's other buyers which are called independent sponsors and or search funders. They are separate, but I'm just going to put them together for this example. Basically what a independent sponsor, or let's say search funder for this example, does is they go to a bunch of investors, so people with money, and they say, hey, I want to go out and buy a business that fits this criteria. Here's how good I am. Will you fund my search and also my acquisition, and in return, I will run the business and I will take this percentage of equity and you will hold this percentage of equity. And sometimes they'll plan to hold that business that they acquire for the long term and grow it and maybe buy some more. Or there's like an exit plan. So they're going to buy the business, they're going to grow it, and then they're going to exit it, and they get their percentage and the funders get their percentage. Again, they want the same businesses as like a private equity firm does. Once you start moving up the ladder from like the fund buyers and the mums and dads and owner operators, there's kind of a line where everything above that, everybody just wants the same sort of business. And the thing is, there are so many buyers and people with money, like a never-ending amount of search funders, independent sponsors, private equity, family offices. There is so much money and so many people that want to buy businesses, but there is a huge lack of good businesses. Now, another potential buyer is what we call like a management buyout. Now, this is where an existing management or team member buys the business from you. So you're the owner, you've got a manager or someone in the operations, in the team, in the business, and they're essentially going to just buy the business from you. Now, we're not talking about deal structures or finance structures here. We're just talking about who buys businesses. Often this creates a much better transition because the team, your staff, your operators, your clients, your suppliers, they already know who this person is. You might already trust them enough as well, which creates a much more seamless, smooth, and trustworthy transfer of the business over. Like you get to sell the business, walk away, and feel good because you already know and trust and have trained this person who is buying the business because they work for you. Now they kind of work with you, or maybe, they've bought it from you. Maybe you work for them now. Who knows how you're going to structure things. The next type of buyer can be a succession or a family member. Now, this is where a lot of things go wrong because the family member, like maybe you've done the business really well and it's really successful, and then you think, hand it down to someone that's, my children or something like that. And you think they've got the same hustle and drive and ambition and motivation as you. And a lot of the time, that's wrong. A good way to think about this is like you probably come from nothing and then you built this big business and now you're worth a pretty penny and you're thinking like, cool, I make good money. I want to give my children a much easier life than I have been given growing up. So the way that they've grown up, they haven't had that same fire and need to survive like us. So then when you transfer the business over thinking, oh, they'll take it over and they'll do good things because they're like me and I've taught them everything and passed on my knowledge and experience, only for them to take it over and then go, oh, you know what, this is boring, and they don't like it, and it stunts the growth, and you lose all value. I'd say like 8 times out of 10, it's never a good idea. Now, the next and final type of buyer is the international buyers. So you'll get companies or buyers or investors or whoever from places like Singapore, India, China, the UAE, America. They're probably the most common. And they want to either buy your business for a number of reasons. They either want to take a business that they're doing and just locate it into Australia. So they've got it in their country and they want to open up an operation in Australia. They can't necessarily do that to get visas anymore. They used to be able to, but they've cut that off. But there are loopholes as well. Like what happens now is they'll buy your business and then they'll sponsor their family members or whatever through the business. And that's how they get in through the visas, is via sponsoring. So they can own the business, but it's not a direct ability for them to come in and get the visa. So there's these grey loopholes. What do I think of them? I don't really care. I just want to sell businesses. So that gives you a good ballpark of like all the different types of people that buy businesses. And no matter whether you're like a fish and chip shop or a little cafe or a plastering company or a logistics and transport companies or a Pilates studio, or maybe you sell the hot mats that sell to the Pilates studio. Or maybe you're a building company that builds fit outs for Pilates studios. Or maybe you're a car yard for prestige cars only. Or maybe you own a 7-Eleven franchise location. Whatever it is, if your business is sellable, they're the types of buyers that are going to be inquiring with the business. Now, as a business broker, specifically here in Melbourne, Victoria, we not only get your business and value it and prepare it and package it for the market to sell, but what we do a lot different than every other broker is we create a strategic database for every business. Normally, business brokers only do this for businesses selling over $1 million. We do it for everyone, even the small players. So if you're considering selling your business, tap one of the links on this page, go to my website, make sure you leave an inquiry, and I will create you a completely free appraisal, which is like helping you see the current value of your business right now. And then also I'll create an exit strategy tailored to your specific business, which explains how it would likely go to market, who the most likely buyers would be, and exactly how we would sell it in that process step by step. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, via email, or go to my website. Let's get your business up. Let's get it sold. Let's make you some money.